Hey up, it's Steve from the Old Yorkshire Geek. Bit of Stargate news, except it's not news, it's more of a list. Whatever. From Giant Freaking Robot. As usual, links in the description down below. Don't forget, like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. I'm also on Rumble and Spotify and Amazon Music Podcasts and Google Podcasts. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Links links are in the description, as are the links to my 2 books. Silent Predator, short horror novella. There's the difference between them. That's Silent Predator. And Mercury Rapids, light-hearted sci-fi action adventure. They're both on Amazon, Kindle and paperback. It's just a bit of fun. La-di-da-di-da. Right, let's get this news up. That's not news, this list up from Giant Freaking Robot. 5 Stargate plot holes that still need to be filled. Thought it just picking bran flakes out of my teeth. I should have brushed them, shouldn't I? Never mind. I have brushed them, should have brushed them after eating my bran flakes. I'm waffling. Right, here we go. So there you go. This is the list of what we're going to be talking about, but we'll just go through it. The Stargate franchise is one of the most complex and detailed in all of science fiction, which is really saying something in a world that has the overlapping multiverse of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and whatever is going on with Star Wars Legends these days. Naturally, when you have a canon so dense, arguably too complex to appeal to any potential new fans, you're going to end up with some dangling plot lines. Here are the most glaring of them. I better disagree. What happened to the Replicators? The Replicators are essentially the Borg of the Stargate universe, an artificial race of self-replicating, get it, machines who relentlessly consume resources and exterminate any possible threats, while the block-like insectile species was first introduced as the creation of a childlike android on a distant world. It was eventually revealed that the original Replicators were even more advanced nanites who eventually assumed a human-like form in the Pegasus Galaxy. The Asurans, as that Replicator faction was dubbed, were mostly destroyed except for a contingent in deep space. And that's just kind of how Stargate left things, with a small but significant group of self-replicating machine entities who had previously shown themselves to be a threat to all life in the universe just kind of being left to their own devices. We need answers on this. Well, they did give answers, didn't they? Well, they did to the Pegasus Galaxy Replicators. They went to their home world, didn't they? And they used... obviously, McKay came up with the Super Ace thing where they attracted all the replicators into one place and then basically deactivated them. So it was just a big lump of replicator material that were deactivated. Some got away, led by I forgot her name now, Elizabeth. I've just bloody been watching Stargate Atlantis. It's my favourite as well. What was her name? Anyway, led by Elizabeth Thingamabob, Dr. Weir, Elizabeth Weir, led by the Elizabeth Weir replicator. And they kind of evolved into becoming like electric replicators or energy replicators. And they sort of like went off to do their own thing. But they weren't really replicators anymore. They were more like beings of energy. It kind of like replicator ascension in a way, but not quite. But as for the other replicators, the ones that were in the Milky Way, and there's other replicators elsewhere as well. Is it the Ida galaxy where the Asgard were? I'm not exactly sure what's happened to those, to be honest. They did leave that dangling a little bit. But yeah, I suppose that is a dangling plot thread. But they did tell us what happened to the Pegasus Galaxy replicators. Anyway, how did the Goa'uld infiltrate Earth? And there is Hathor, the lovely Suan Braun, as Hathor, with a Goa'uld in its natural state. Right, the original 1994 Stargate film, starring Kurt Russell and James Spader, established the basic premise of the franchise. Alien technology connects worlds, or 2 worlds in the original film, through cool liquid portals with an ancient Egyptian theme. But the aliens are bad. The expanded universe of the subsequent shows canonised the bad guys as the Goa'uld, megalomaniacal parasites with an expansive interstellar empire, but it never bothered to explain exactly how and why the aliens selected Earth for these purposes. It kind of did, I'm sure it did. It's pretty weird that Stargate has never really delved into the infiltration of Earth by Ra, J. Davidson, and how the Goa'uld established themselves as gods over humanity. It would seem like a pretty basic plot point for the franchise to flesh out, so why has the story never been told? Oh, there we go. I'm sure they've broached it in SG-1 and Atlantis, because the ancients came from another galaxy, and then they came to the Milky Way, and the seeded, they landed on it, and the seeded planets with humans or whatever. I can't actually remember, to be honest. Well, they left colonies dotted about. But then when they ascended and left behind their technology, the Goa'uld came along, basically took a lot of their technology, including the Stargates and the ring platforms and all that, and they started their empire. The humans, the second evolution of humans on Earth, which is us, they were conquered by Ra and his forces, and then from there the System Lords took humans from Earth and used them as slaves across the galaxy, and that's how humans got around the Milky Way. But what was it now? In the Pegasus galaxy, it was different, wasn't it? I think the ancients seeded humans on different worlds for whatever reason in the Pegasus galaxy. But then they were used as food by the Wraith, which were also kind of sideways created by the ancients. The Alterans. So it was kind of explained, but it's not entirely clear. It's not really a plot hole. Anyway, we'll move on. So it has been told, but just not well. I suppose somebody out there knows the full story. A proper fan, who can go into this. What happened to the Furlings? Well, this is the big one, isn't it, for Stargate? What happened to the Furlings? There were 5 races. We're told that there were 5 races that kind of were in charge way back when. There were the Ancients, who built the Stargate system. There were the Asgard, who were like the grey aliens. There were the Nox, who were like hippies. Who else were there? Oh, there were 4, weren't there? And there were the Furlings. Is that it? Yeah, there were the Furlings, who we've never seen. What you're seeing there on screen is like an imaginary version of the Furlings, who look like Ewoks or little koala bears. But then humans, us, became the 5th race eventually. Right, anyway, so we'll go. The Furlings are one of the most mysterious and hotly debated alien species in the Stargate mythos. An ancient, though not the ancients, an advanced civilization that apparently once thrived in the Milky Way galaxy, but are never seen. Almost nothing is known of the Furlings, other than they were once part of a benevolent alliance of species. They had incredible technology, and they're just kind of not around anymore. What gives? The 200th episode of Stargate SG-1 centred around an imaginary encounter with the living Furlings, but didn't centre around it, it just included them, who had a distinct resemblance to Star Wars' Ewoks, or koala bears. Koalas, sorry, I know they're not bears. But there has been virtually no indication of whether they are extinct, hidden, moved on to another part of the universe, or even what they actually look like. If you're going to set up an alien race to be so interesting and important, why tell us nothing about them? But I think they're doing it deliberately to at least keep some secrets. I mean, they may have ascended, we don't know. The ancients ascended to another level of being, didn't they? Became like the Q in Star Trek. Maybe the Furlings did as well. We know that the Nox didn't, and the Asgard couldn't ascend because of the way they reproduce through cloning. That prevented them from ascending for some reason. And the Nox never ascended. Maybe they just didn't want to, I don't know. But maybe the Furlings did, or maybe they just left. And I had a fan theory or fan story in my head that maybe a new Stargate series could have the Furlings returning, and they're not happy with how the galaxy has gone. But we will see. Maybe they were allies of the Goa'uld, maybe, or maybe they didn't think the Goa'uld were all that bad, which is why they left. When the ancients and the Asgard set up the treaty or whatever of protected worlds. Maybe the Furlings didn't agree with that and they left, and they were, maybe they're going to come back and see what's happened to the Goa'uld, being defeated, and they'll start kicking off. That's my theory. But yes, it would be nice to know what happened to them, one way or the other. Right. Why didn't the Wraith invade other galaxies? And there's a Wraith from Stargate Atlantis. The Wraith is one of the Stargate franchise's most feared threats, basically being immortal space vampires from another galaxy, who are also kind of like humanoid bugs. The pale-skinned hive dwellers originate in the Pegasus galaxy, where they periodically emerge from centuries-long hibernations to feed on whole planets. Well, not really. When the Wraith eventually learn of the existence of Earth as a potential source of food/life energy, their targets are set towards the Milky Way galaxy. However, that just raises the question of why they specifically need Earth. There are literally billions of other galaxies, and based on the premise of the show, plenty of life forms everywhere. Why have they not ever attempted to colonise other galaxies, and only the one that gives them the most pushback? Well, they explained that in Atlantis, didn't they? Pegasus galaxy is kind of sparsely populated because the Alterans or whatever seeded various planets with human life, and they became food for the Wraith. But it's pretty sparsely populated. So the Wraith, they went on what they call their cullings when they awoke from their hibernation. They went on cullings, but they didn't kill everybody on the planet, because they couldn't do that, because that would mean their food supply had run out. So they just took a certain amount and then went back into hibernation again. And so that's how that explains it. And why they didn't go to the galaxies? Well, technically they couldn't go to the galaxies because their hyperspace technology for their ships, particularly the hive ships, which are the biggest, couldn't get them to other galaxies fast enough. You could say, oh, well, they could go into hypersleep, but no, they couldn't. I think that to land their hive ships on a planet and basically power it down so that all the Wraith could go into hibernation. So that's that. That's why they couldn't go to the Milky Way galaxy. That's why they wanted Atlantis, which had the only Stargate in the Pegasus galaxy that could reach Earth, because of, I don't know why, to be honest. Because they couldn't do the 8th chevron or whatever. I don't know why the Atlantis gate was the only one that could get to the Milky Way galaxy. But that's why they needed the city of Atlantis and its gate to get to Earth by using the 8th chevron. Or they could just upgrade their hyperdrives. I mean, human/Asgard hyperdrives are much more advanced and much quicker. We can get, between galaxies in days, and especially powered by a 0-point module. But they couldn't. That's why they didn't go to Earth. They did eventually, but they were defeated by Atlantis. At the end of Stargate Atlantis, they did get to near Earth, but they were defeated. But they are still out there. They are still a threat, and they did technically defeat the Ancients. The Ancients were forced to retreat to Earth through the Stargate and abandon Atlantis. So they are still a threat, and they are still out there. But the reason they want Earth is because it's the most densely populated planet in the Milky Way galaxy. Probably, in several galaxies. So that's why they want to get to Earth, because it's a smorgasbord. Right, what happened to the Asgard's technology? There's an Asgard. Don't ask me which one it is. They all look the same to me. But is that racist? The Asgard is one of the nice alien species of Stargate, despite looking exactly like the bad guys from the X-Files and having the culture of Thor from the MCU. One of the original benevolent civilizations of the Milky Way, along with the ancients, the aforementioned Furlings, the Nox. The Asgard relied on a system of cloning that eventually led to fatal genetic degradation. Wasn't that clever then, was it? Additionally, the Asgard did the logical thing and decided to communally immolate their entire species and culture on their homeworld. Supposedly, the grey-like alien species took all their tech, which made the Goa'uld look like cavemen, out with them. Well, because the Goa'uld essentially stole or appropriated their technology, didn't they, from other species, mostly. Out with them, except they gave a human ship copies of all their blueprints, all their technology, and the Asgard core, that they called it. Like nothing bad was going to happen there. I think the Odyssey, the Odyssey that had that, yeah, I think it was it, that ship. Like nothing bad was going to happen there. So now that a random bunch of humans have some of the most advanced technology ever seen in 2 galaxies, what happens next? Well, hopefully we'll find out if they do a new series and continue it rather than start afresh with a reboot. But I think the point is that they felt that humans had become, or the Tauri as they call us in Stargate, had become the 5th race. So we were, we were able to handle their technology and not use it in a destructive way. Although we did. We used Asgard beam technology while there was still Asgard around to beam nuclear weapons aboard Wraith Hive ships, and the Asgard weren't happy about that. So it showed that we could misuse their technology, but it was necessary to save lives in the long run. But I think the point was that in Stargate, humans have become basically like Starfleet and the Federation. We are benevolent for the most part, and we're not misusing the gifts that we've found from around the galaxy, for the most part, but not always. So there we go, and that's it for that one. So there we go, 5 plot holes that need to be filled. I don't know, some of them do, some of them don't. But it'd be nice if when we see Stargate finally reappear, hopefully on Amazon, it'll be a continuation and not a reboot. I'd hate to see it, because it'd seem like a waste of all that. What was it, 17 seasons of television? It'd be a waste. 17 seasons of television, two movies, well, 3 movies, a theatrical movie and 2 direct-to-DVD movies. It'd be a waste to lose all that if they did a reboot. So, right, we'll leave it there. I just thought I'd share that with you. So, thanks for watching. Wherever you are, look after each other, and until next time, I'll see you there.